Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1. My name is Delilah Coach D, and I'm here to tell you about my special mission in life called the work. And I think that this word has been expressed many times in different platforms, but truthfully, I've never come across a book that just tells you the step-by-step process about how to really level yourself up and unlock yourself to your full potential. This is my whole mission in life, is to show people that you truly have the power to change your life, your being, by able to self-reflect and to make direct actions to your own true self, your authentic self. But through this process, you will be tested. Through this process, you'll have adversities. Through this process, you'll probably cry and go through some pain because it's all a level of transformation. You have to understand that it's perfect for your own journey. This is not the easiest thing to do, but I swear if you're fully committed and want to change, this is the most worthiest thing you can do, not just for yourself, for the people around you that truly need you to be at service for them. I can only tell you by my own personal experience how transformational and how evolutionary this has been for me. And I'm just such in a place of awe to be able to get these things called downloads, to be able to express them to you in a certain way, my own way. Again, I believe that every genre has a certain leader or messenger, and I think that this is just my own way of showing maybe not just women or Latina women or single women that it is possible no matter what limitations or adversities that this life has thrown to you. I'm being called as a mission not just to help women out in the area. Right now I live in California, Gilroy, California to be exact. I will be building a retreat center just to showcase the work itself, but also going down to countries like Mexico where I feel like we are a little bit backwards. I mean, culturally, I'm a Mexican American first generation and I truly love this country, but I do also understand that 77% of Americans are overweight and obese. And that is true epidemic in our society. We should not have this unhealthy body that also is an unhealthy mind. I know it's kind of eerie and dark to talk about it, but regardless, it has to be talked about and we have to be able to shift and change, because if we don't, the next generation is going to falter and also, create the same trauma-based triggers and process of actions that are not in alignment to true health. And I truly believe that if you want to be happy, you have to develop healthy mannerisms and actions to be able to be fulfilled in your journey. Because really I tell people it's not about the money, because money will come. It's not about the body, because the body will transform, but it's also the internal state of being, of how you feel about yourself, your relationship to yourself, and truly love yourself fully in full acceptance of regardless of what anybody or anything says that you should be, because through this journey, you've been conditioned and created this avatar, I tell people, of who everybody told you to be. And at the end of the day, it created certain limitations, scarcity, fear, and lack within us. And again, those things are just a program I explain to my clients. So anybody that's around me knows how passionate I am to be able to express the work that I do, but also to have them to understand that, everything that I say, it might not hit you right now because I'm just planting seeds at this level of consciousness. But when the time is right, you will hear it plenty of other times in different ways and it will hit you. And then you'll be like, okay, I now I know what Crazy Coach D is saying this whole time. So with that, I'm going to go with the work. Again, the work is a step-by-step process of actually how to unlock your chakras. If you want to go Eastern philosophy or Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you want to talk about philosophy. In my journey, for the last 7 to 10 years, I've really dove into many different philosophies and theories and sciences, because I think that people like myself we're just like to the point of like, what the fuck is the truth? And once you go into the path of like the rabbit hole of all this information, you start to realize that everybody's pretty much saying the same thing, just in different ways. And when you start to see the overlaps of everything and what I call the golden thread, you start to understand that, there is a way to really fulfill and unlock yourself, but it's going to take a lot of intentions and actions in the right alignment to who you are. Because who you truly are, I tell everybody, you're love, you are enough, you're validated, you are all those things already, you're full of light. But because through this journey, you know, you have to experience the opposite and the polarities of this world, you will go through some level of darkness and pain and heartbreak. That is a part of everybody's journey. And I think that's the special part, to be understanding that, you know, it's not always sunshines and rainbows. It's going to be darkness. It's going to be pain. It's going to be some heartaches, because through those things of heartaches, you know, you are able to, I tell people, your heart's like a muscle, right? You rip it up and then you heal it to grow back bigger. And once you grow back bigger, you have more compassion and empathy and love towards everybody, because you still start to understand you're no different than anybody. And then that creates such a level of unity and love and respect and peace within everybody. And again, through our journeys, we've been conditioned to judge people and to say that you're separate than me and you. But at a certain level of consciousness, you also know that everybody's the same and everybody's just a mirror at different paths, at different timelines, at different choices that they choose to make. So the work, again, let me explain it like this. It's a 2-step process, but 4 steps altogether. It's 2 steps in the fact that it's 2 parts of internal and external. Internally, we have to wake up, which is W. And again, the internal state of being, you have to understand your emotions, your thoughts, your belief systems, your values. I tell people this is your roots. It's like you're the tree of life. And at the bottom is your subconscious mind, if you want to talk about neuroscience, or if you want to talk about spirituality, it's your ego. It's from the past. So you have to understand that you were programmed, and think about the brain as a computer system, right? Your body's the hardware, your brain is the software. You're programmed a certain way to believe certain things. But truthfully, those things weren't all true. And this is where the programming has been off. And whether you're a conspiracy theorist of thinking about the elitists that are trying to control us, that can be a thing. Or if you just know that it's polarities, and sometimes to grow out of that, you have to go through the level of darkness to experience the opposite as well. Regardless of who you are, knowing that our programming is off because your reality is off. If you wake up every morning and you see that you're not truly living the life that you want to live, that's how you know the programming is off. So whether is it your physical state, right? Your body, is it unhealthy? Whether is it your emotional relationships, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your mother, your siblings, your coworkers, you know, if you have some sort of too many triggers and too many irritations and too many disconnections, you know that one's a little off. Or if you want to talk about your finances, because it's all connected. Your finances is tied into your self-worth and your value. So once you start to do the inner work of waking up of your belief systems, your values, then you could also go into, override, choosing to change. This is your choice. This is your conscious choice to change your patterns, your belief systems internally into the right actions. And that's the external work. So let me give you a little example, but then again, this is a different episode in itself. If you talk about health, your belief systems around sugar, right? And especially in the American culture, where go, coffee and things of that sort, it's going to create a certain vibrational code into your health journey. So you have to understand, to reprogram yourself, you have to actually change belief systems within you, and then also align the right actions to it. And that's how you would do your health. But again, it goes to a lot more deeper than that. In future episodes, not only will I talk about a woman's perspective, but also an American's perspective. So I truthfully believe that the work is for everybody. It doesn't matter the culture, the race, the generations. It's just your willingness to want to change, and also to self-reflect of what you've been taught in your past, and then to decide to override it now in for the future. And then the future, you have to go R. So wake up, override, and R is realign. So what is realignment? Realignment basically means that you're going to set a proper habitual code of conduct for yourself. And again, I always tell people, you know what, diet starts Monday is what everybody says, right? That's your word. To your word to yourself primarily. So for you to have integrity, right? Authenticity to that word means that you're going to have the proper actions to be in alignment to that. So if you say diet starts Monday, the realignment's your nutrition plan realistically. It's you following through with every action that you say you're going to do to be in alignment to your nutrition. In my own personal business, Love Her, we have that as as in if you want to truly transform, you have to change the way that you think, speak, and act, especially when it comes around food. Because as women, unfortunately, we tend to cope with food because we're a bit more emotional. And I know I fought this with my own business coach, my own best friend. I'd always be like, no, women are just the same as men. And truthfully, he's like, well, you're probably wrong because you're probably better. So women do have a strong power in the sense that we're also emotional beings, and we can also feel at a deep level, which is so special because I feel like that in itself is very spiritual, more connection to God, if you want to call that, or universe, whatever word you want to say. It's all the same. But in those moments of triggers, again, the emotional charge that you get from the external, you have to understand that one, that's your work to find out why you're getting triggered, to heal that part of ourselves. But not only that, to be able to shift and change. That's the biggest thing. Once you become aware of those triggers and why you're being triggered in that way, and the deep roots of those things, then you have the awareness enough to shift and change. That's the biggest thing. Once you become aware of those triggers and why you're being triggered in that way, and the deep roots of those things, then you have the awareness enough to be able to let go. And that's the whole realignment and kill it. So killing it basically means two different things when it comes to killing it. Again, wake up awareness of your belief systems and your actions. O, override, choosing to change. R, realign the program to change into. And the program can also be something of the sorts of like, I am happy, affirming, saying what you want in this lifetime. I am love. I am abundant. All those things are positive affirmations that unfortunately right now your subconscious is probably like, I'm poor. Why? Because you look at your bank account and you're like, that's poor. I don't have enough money, right? I don't feel enough. I'm not enough. Whatever it is, it's always from the past. And that's, again, sometimes deep-rooted issues from my childhood. And again, through psychology, and if you do therapy, you understand that that's exactly where they go in the Western world. They go to the past. And I have to encourage you to understand that is a way to heal yourself and knowing what's underneath. But truthfully, the right actions and the right beliefs is what's going to transform you. If you go into the scientifics of things, that the studies called epigenetics, the science, and I believe Bruce Lipman is probably like the leader when it comes to this type of science. And really it's talking about the DNA code and how every gene expression is turned on and off by your belief systems. So when I heard this and studied this again, I was like, holy fucking shit. I realized that through my own journey of bodybuilding as being a professional. Again, my environment wasn't going to create the belief systems that said you should eat like this, speak like this, act like this. But I chose it for myself to be able to condition my body and mind to something completely different that my environment never has spoke of like eating correctly or eating timely, or in the reasons why. So even though bodybuilding was such a hard journey to go through as a single parent, as a mother, as a business owner, I realized it was the biggest blessing because now I get to teach this sport of self-awareness more than anything. It's a spiritual evolution game. And once I saw bodybuilding of that way, I'm like, wow, the meal plan wasn't just a meal plan anymore. It's the integrity to yourself to transfer over the right actions for your future that you truly want to manifest. And in that created my own awareness of like, okay, my thoughts are going to affect me. My speech, what I say to not only to others, but also to myself, to realize that, my self-talk has to be kind and nice and full of grace, because I tell all my clients, this level of perfection that we put on ourselves is an illusion. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be authentic. And through that authenticity, we have to be progressional with the approach. We're not just going to be 0 to 100. Maybe if you're a type A, maybe that's a thing. Obviously, I don't know you. I just know my own experience. And I also know that most people are going to have it to take levels to this game. So the different levels, again, with wake up, override, realign, and kill it, carpe diem, do your best every day. It's going to be the lower 3 chakras, which is your physical plane. Then you're going to go into your heart center, which is your emotional plane. And then you're going to go into your financials, which is your spiritual plane. And in the spiritual plane, I also want to encourage you to start to have that open mindset of The way that the people do things is one way. They get a job, they get a paycheck, right? But when you go into the higher planes of entrepreneurship and really developing a dream that's mission driven, which I believe that everybody has a mission. Everybody has a gift to give. You are that gift to everybody. Once you start to realize your life in that way, you live a more fulfilled life. And that's the true power of the work, is the fact that you wake up every day with true authenticity, with a strategy, again, using the mind a little bit, but also with flow. You have to understand that everything doesn't have to be timely and planned to your accord. It has to be a flow of accepting from what the universe has to give you, and also receiving that with full awareness of like, this is a gift and I'm going to fully accept it. And sometimes, the gifts aren't the best. Sometimes they are adversities that we have to go through to grow through, which I totally love that line, because through the darkness, we grow to a bigger being. And if you want to talk about science, Nicholas Tesla, if you don't know who that is, Google him. He said, if you want to learn the secrets of the universe, think about it in vibration, frequency, and energy. And this is really about raising the vibration. And I think that a lot of spiritual people throw that word out. But unfortunately, for the layman's terms, normal person, it's not really explained. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Vibration. What does it mean? Higher, lower, right? Again, think about it like this. Everything vibrates at a certain frequency. Now, I unfortunately can't tell you exactly the frequency that you vibrate at or I vibrate at. I just know that my emotional state at the majority time is at a happy, joyful state, which for me personally is like, maybe I'm vibrating at 400 or 500 or 600 megahertz, but think about it like this also. If your emotional state is more into a shame or guilt type of frequency, you're experiencing those emotions more, you're going to vibrate at a lower frequency at around 20 to 50 megahertz. I know it sounds geeky and it's probably too much for the normal person to understand, but high and low is something very simple that you can understand. Think about emotions as that. A low emotion, like I just explained, was shame, guilt, fear. Right? You could also hear and feel the darkness when it comes to those emotional states. But then also opposite is true. Joy, or my last name, alegría, happiness, love. All those emotions vibrate at a higher frequency of 432 is the earth, 528 is love, 600 is joy, and 700 is enlightenment. Now you're probably saying like, this girl just fucking knows everything. And you're right, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. I like to humble myself, and I like to understand also that this game is also about not knowing. And truthfully, I've come to realize that this life is a game. But unfortunately, nobody ever taught you the rules to the game. Unfortunately, nobody explained to you why you start doing certain things. It's just you do it because everybody else does it. But I want to encourage you to really ask questions and ask why, because once you start to ask why, you start to fully understand. And for me to tell you things, yes, that's one thing, right? You could believe everything that I say, but I also will encourage you to question what I say and really do your own work. And what I mean by that is research. I've had to research 7 years, and I'm going to condense my 7 or 10 years of self-analysis, of psychology, of, past traumas. I'm going to give you everything that who I am and how I figured my life out and how I was able to understand the work and how I give it to everybody. Again, this is my own journey. Everybody will have some level of trauma. My trauma is my trauma, and your trauma is your trauma. No matter what, the level of pain and trauma events is still there. So regardless of what type of trauma, know that you have imperfect validation of your feelings through it. You're here not to negate things that happened in the past, but you're here to fully accept the fact that it let you become who you are. And who you are is this light source, this fully developed God being, that, you know what, you didn't know. You didn't know a lot. You didn't know that you were playing a game. You didn't know the rules to the game. The rules to the game is all about energy. And this is why I'm here to expose everything. And, if something happens to me in the future, who's trying to shut me up. Unfortunately, there's people out there that probably don't want to have people have the power. Regardless if you're talking about religion or whatnot, you lose power when you start to understand that the power is already within. So you don't need anything external. But real talk, you do need community. I feel like we're very powerful as a unit, but real talk as well. a lot of our society has been divided by different things. And I'm going to go geeky on you. Back in the day, Willie Lynch was a huge slave owner, and all these slaves were having a really hard time controlling the slaves. And so they wrote a letter to Willie Lynch, and Willie Lynch wrote them back. Like, okay, the way that you control slaves or people is you have to learn how to separate them and have them fight against themselves. So the light skins will fight against the dark skins, the olders against the young, the men against the women, right? If you have everybody fighting against each other, there's no way that they can unify and fight against the powerhouse. And I have to explain to you guys that it's not about you going to Capitol Hill and fighting any government or oppression that's out there. It's about you really individually doing your internal work and understand that your mind has been dominating you this whole time. This is a mind game. So you have to know that the mind will either control you or you have to take over dominion and control over it. Truthfully, that's your power. But again, it's really hard to do when nobody's ever told you that or told you how to do that. And I have just the privilege and the honor to have your attention for this amount of time. And I thank you. And I'm so grateful for you to go along this journey with me. Because again, this is just the beginning. I will teach you times of concepts like time, like energy, like food and nutrition, which is the physical part, relationship with your body, the programming that was set in place as a woman, as an American in our culture. I'm going to go through the levels of hurt and different types of relationships and how to understand your own triggers and how to unlock them and deep root them and heal them. And then I'm going to go into your financial space and talk about your right habits that you should attain and how to, if you truly want to be successful, we should really have some level of awareness within our finances and have a better relationship with money, because sometimes in our culture, our parents lived paycheck to paycheck. And in those moments, you weren't taught the right example. So again, if you truly want to succeed, if you truly want to live a fulfilled life, you're going to do the work, because you know that as hard as it is, as painful as it is, it's going to be the best thing and the worthiest thing that you ever do for your journey and the people around you. And with that, episode 1 is done. My name is Delilah, Coach D. I love you guys. Peace, love, unity, respect, and responsibility to all those brave heads out there.